Hi there, Josephine here from holylisa.com. I'm super excited to be joining Dana from Got Joy Creations at her Holiday Card Series 2019. And I'm super honest with you right now, these are my first Christmas cards this year. Isn't that crazy? Well, better starting late than never. So I thought joining this series, by the way, Dana, thank you so much for inviting me, is the perfect reason to get started with my Christmas card madness this year. And because I need quite a few, I'm not only making one card today, I'm making 3. And I'm using some of the new stamps that I bought over the last weeks that I wanted to use for weeks, but thanks to university and work and life in general, I just didn't have a chance. So I started with just creating my frames. I'm using some Lawn Fawn dies and some Catherine Pooler dies, like the postmark stamp. This one that you're seeing on the screen right now, that's a Catherine Pooler one. The stitch ones are Lawn Fawn. And then I'm preparing my scene. And I decided to go with something rather simple because the new Catherine Pooler said the man with the bag is super simple. It's just a beard and a hat. And then the sentiment is the face, pretty much. That sounds creepier than it actually is. And then I also got a new stamp from Elizabeth's Crafts Design, which is actually a planner stamp, but the reindeer works perfectly fine on cards as well. And I thought they look perfect together, Rudolph and Santa, and I made just a couple of cards with it. So I decided to basically create the front very similar for all 3 cards, but then change it up with the backgrounds just to, I don't know, try a few things. So I'm just grabbing my Catherine Pooler inks, Stamp Up Rudolph in brown, and the center hat and center beard in black, and I will color it in later. I tried different brown tones, and I liked icing on the cake and the coffee one. By the way, all the supplies are listed down below and over on Dana's blog, just in case you're wondering. So I'm trying different brown tones, but I wanted to have different shades of Rudolph because reindeers have different brown tones, right? So I'm just stamping everything basically 3 times, but I wanted to switch it up, as I said. So 1 darker reindeer, 1 ombre reindeer, and then 1 light reindeer. The Santa hat and beard are all stamped in black, just because I wanted to keep those simple, and I wouldn't know how to stamp a beard and a hat otherwise. But again, I'm coloring them in. And I tend to, especially on ombre ones, I tend to stamp twice, but with solid stamps in general, it's just the experience. Usually I have to stamp twice. It's rarely that I only have to stamp once. That's why I'm using my Misty to make sure that I have no issues, and I will stamp on exactly the same spot over and over again. Here you can see it just happens sometimes. Who knows why this happens? I don't think it has anything to do with the stamp or the ink. Sometimes you just have to stamp twice. So once that's done, I put those aside, let them sit for just a little bit, and then I'm picking R12 and R14 Copic markers and color in Rudolph's nose. Of course, it has to be red, and then a little bit the head. And super simple coloring here. I'm just coloring in a couple of the stripes, so center is not too boring, but has a little bit life to it. Well, at least the head. And I'm starting with R12, just the first layer, and then with R14 I'm adding the shades to the head, and I'm speeding it up quite a bit because again, it's nothing super difficult. It's rather simple shading, so I didn't want you to sit here and watch for 2 minutes how I color in a couple of stripes. And then once I added the shade with the R14, I go over with R12 again and just blend it in nicely. That's pretty much it. And then finally I'm adding the sentiments. So the man with a bag comes with a couple of sentiments, but one of the December Moments Planner Essential stamps also fit perfectly into Santa's face. So I'm stamping that as well. I'm using the same brown tones that I used for the reindeer. So the darkest, or the icing on the cake, where I used icing on the cake for the reindeer. I'm creating an ombre effect for the Merry Christmas sentiment for the card with the ombre Rudolph, and then I'm using the lightest brown over coffee for the card where I used over coffee only for Rudolph. So as you see, super simple, nothing difficult, the perfect start, or the perfect way on starting your Christmas card season. Don't make it too complicated, just get started with something simple. And then I decided Santa is a sparkly guy, so he needs some sparkle on his head. So I'm coloring in all the that are usually the fuzzy parts on Santa's hats, they all have sparkle now, and I'm using, I think it's a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. Yeah, alrighty. So now I'm creating the 3 different backgrounds, and I'm starting with something more grungy. So I'm using the Reindeer Mail stem set, also from Elizabeth's Craft Design, also plain essential stem that, as you can see, works perfectly for cards. And I'm trying a tone on tone, but I probably should have used an even lighter brown in hindsight. But again, it looks great. I don't think it matters too much. And I'm just stamping it kind of in a circle randomly onto, it's called sand dune paper, so it looks a little bit grungier. And then for the second one, I decided to go a little bit mixed media, just a little bit, and I'm using Versamark ink on the corner of my card, just wiping it slightly over it. I didn't want to have too big of a embossed border, just really a light one, so that's why I'm really carefully going over it just on the edges and just a little bit. And then I'm taking a new Wow embossing powder, which has like different colors in it, like an orange and a red. It's, I think, designed by Sarah Nauman is her name. And yeah, that's what I'm using for the outside, because red Christmas works. And then I'm just heat setting it. So that was number 2. And for number 3, I'm finally using this all too new washi tape that I had laying around, whatever the right sentence is, that I had laying around for such a long time, that I decided, you know what, I have to use it. Rudolph and Santa are flying through the sky, through this galaxy, so a galaxy background fits perfectly for Christmas. Well, not really, but promise, it looks actually really good. So, and I had to fight a little bit at the beginning. I should have watched a video on how to best cover cardstock with it, but I figured it out by just turning the whole washi tape around, because initially, you see that here, the first tries that I had, it got like all crumpled up on the cardstock, so I just decided to turn it around, get it as flat as possible, and then go backwards basically on the washi tape. And then I just took some normal scissors, cut it all out, and folded it over. So basically the washi tape is really nice and flat on top of the cardstock. And then in order to avoid that I get kind of weird wonky lines, I'm just folding the washi tape over so it lays basically around the cardstock. I hope that makes sense. Well, you're seeing what I'm doing. And then the postage stamp fit perfectly onto that galaxy background. So then everything, I just adhere everything together. So the base or the background on the card base, and then the front on top. The heat embossed one, I popped that up with some foam tape because I added just a white big postage stamp cutout behind it. You can hardly see it here, but you'll see it in the close-ups later. So one of the Rudolphs had to get a dimensional nose, so I'm using some Nouveau, I think they are called antique drops or whatever, but it's like not a bright color, it's more an antique color, so I thought it fits perfectly to the more antique looking background. Then I'm grabbing some of my tinsel town, I think they are called, sentiments, and sequins, and add some sequins to the center with the over coffee Rudolph. And then finally, that's it. That's all my cards. Here are my 3 first Christmas cards of the years. Can you believe it? I hope you enjoyed them. I know they're rather simple. Usually I do more mixed media stuff, but I tried to add a little bit mixed media. So I hope you enjoy them. I hope you enjoy Dana's series. Definitely check out all the other videos that all her guest designers made. There are some amazing Christmas cards ideas there. And then if you haven't subscribed to me already, my channel is Holy Lisa, so feel free to hop on over and subscribe. Definitely don't forget to subscribe on Dana's channel. And then don't forget to tune in for another video for the Holiday Card Series 2019.